situation. I was asked through my agency for a self-tape, and first of all, I was like, "Oh, horror movie, interesting." Haven't had a horror movie for a long time, and I did it my self-tape. I sent it, and then I had to do a new one because they were not sure if I was the perfect match for what they were looking for. And then I did a second one, changed a bit of what well, he said, don't change anything, but just do another one. And so finally I got the part and was very much happy about it. And so I was in Lee Cronin's movie, in this really amazing and wonderful movie, and which gave me the chance to be in Ireland for the first time, which I planned for years to be there, and at the same time had the chance to do such a great movie. Although I didn't have the script before, because mostly they sent you just the scenes, not telling too much of the story, if you get the script before. But right after I got the part, I got the script, of course, and then I read it. I said, "Well, it's cool, it's nice. I'm very curious how this is going to be," and yeah, it's wonderful. So it wasn't needed to be to go to Ireland, since in today's business, actors business, we mostly do things via self-tape,
Yeah.
which is cool because you're at home, you can do whatever you like for the script. But I like both. Life is also something I really like, and so yeah, so I got into this movie, and here I am.
And Tim, in terms of, did you know that you were trying out for an Egyptian type doctor? Did you sort to think Arabic? Did you think different roles that you were going to play? Did you think a bit of archaeology based? Did you sort of research into that sort of an area? Or would you think to, no, I'm just going to treat this like a GP type of a normal doctor?
Well, first of all, I'm very much into all historical things since I'm a kid. I loved archaeology. I love the mummy stories, Egyptian stories. I remember when I was 8, 9, 10, I read everything about the antique people, about the Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptians, the pyramids, pharaohs, and I knew a lot about those historical themes, and uh, I I was happy to be part of something which I watched was when I was a kid, because I loved watching this kind of movies when I was a kid, because uh, from a huge family with 8 brothers and sisters, and my brother and me, we were sleeping in the room where we had the TV, and when everybody slept, right 11 p.m., we watched all the dark movies, horror movies when I was 10, you imagine. And coming back to the part I was playing, uh, I played before a couple of times Arabic persons or characters, like in a Netflix series that I had Arabic parts, and I know a little bit of Arabic. I can read it. Since I used it a lot of times. Here, I had to prepare also some Arabic parts, but finally we didn't use it at the movie. The movie said, "Well, we can do it without," but still it worked, and it was not very much new. I'm always happy to play all kind of nationalities. That's maybe my 15th or 20th different national part I'm playing. So it was, um, let's say, something. Being a doctor is uh, could be anything, but in this atmosphere, in this, let's say, unfathomable situation in which you are, although even for a doctor who's like, you've seen a lot of things in his life, what is this? What occurs to him when they find the kid uh, um, after 8 years disappeared, and coming back in this strange look, and still alive. Uh, and as you remember, I'm telling this very beautiful line, which I loved when I prepared the casting tape. It's important you fully prepare yourself for what you're about to see. which is like a introduction for a movie. Oh, you're gonna see some movie, and so be prepared. So it was like somebody who's like a conferencier who was telling him, "Look, there's something coming, so be prepared." So I love this, and yeah, I mean, I prepare the lines for the movie. I have ideas, but finally everything happens on the set. If I'm connected with the director, which got like this because Lee is such a wonderful, very fine director, we immediately knew what was the story about and what he wants from this part. He said, "I like the way you did it on the tape. Please be connected to this way you played it, and um, let's not forget there's this atmosphere. We don't have to do a lot. There's music, which I always know after so much experience in my life. I let the atmosphere come over me with the help of a director who watches and sees if this fits in this atmosphere. So you don't have to do too much because sometimes what you have in your mind at home, in your room, and learning your lines wherever you are, this sometimes doesn't have anything to do with what is happening, the way they were shooting it. Because the lighting, the costume, everything helps to make this character alive. And so I was quite relaxed. And right after meeting Lee, I was more relaxed. And so we had a very great time there, and I enjoyed it very, very much. And unfortunately, I couldn't make it to the premiere, but I watched it here in with family and friends, and it was also wonderful to watch it there.
Tim, tell us what it was like. I don't know if you were on set the same times and Natalie was in wardrobe and the makeup and special effects, but to see her walking around in that sort of costume and having to do all the things she needed to do in terms of stunts, crawling, agile, and to see the hours that you spend in makeup and wardrobe, did you get to see that firsthand? And did it even sort of did you even take a step backwards when you saw it?
To be honest, this is a good question because um, when we prepared the scene, she wasn't visible. She was in the back of the room somewhere because first of all, I'm talking to the parents, and to be honest, once we rehearsed the scene while she was lying there, I was like, "Oh my God, what is that?" It looked like not something real. I needed some seconds to realize that there's a real person lying there. It looked like a puppy or something. I don't know because it was so much unreal in a way. And it was this young girl with all the amazing makeup, and it was really terrific and horrible. Like, holy shit! But I took this the situation, this emotion which I got in this moment, and tried to keep it cool. You're a doctor. You've seen everything in your life, and you don't have to be the excited person for the people who will be excited because they're seeing their daughter for the first time after 8 years. So this moment gave me this moment of, let's say, not coolness is not the right word, but this um, not to be excited too much, just to give them comfort. And that gave me this uh, exposure of not being a doctor. Of you can trust me. There's a bad situation, but we're gonna fix it in a way. That was the approach to this moment, and it was amazing how she looked. And right after we shot the scene, I said, I'd like to see a picture of her, how she really looks in life, in real life. And I said, this is amazing. This sweet, beautiful girl. How did you make it? And this is a huge chapeau to all the effects, makeup, costume, and lighting, and everybody who was involved in this movie is really a huge craft. They put it into this movie. Amazing, amazing, really.
Yeah, and it's sort of unique in one sense because it stands out from different mummy movies because it's more demonic, it's more about possession, it's more about the curse side of things and the whole horror side of things rather than a big sort of Indiana sort of chase, which we see with other type of mummy movies in the past. This is more that's going to send shivers or chills down your spine, dare I say.
Definitely. I mean, remember, of course, the Mummy franchise with Brendan Fraser and
Yeah,
the wonderful Rachel Weisz. I mean, ah, and yeah, these movies were kind of, Indiana Jones, adventurous movies, just entertaining, popcorn, Coke, which is also cool.
yeah,
Sometimes you need this, not only art house movies, um, but still, I wouldn't say this is only a horror movie or a gore movie because it has such a beautiful psychological impact because of the situation of the parents and their bond to how to deal with this situation. And um, me myself, as a dad, I have kids, and imagining being in a situation like this is also imaginable for people who are not very much maybe into horror, but I think the strong part of the movie is not only these horror for all the horror fans, um, but also for other people who love psychological horror, thriller, not horror, but thrillers. It reminded me also kind of a thriller part of it, and and what it did to the parents. That's what you can't not be empathetic with them, and that gives you chills. Um, and I think Lee made it and wrote it in a way which is really a very special. I don't know. I remember I watched the one of the first mummy movies of the, I don't know, 30s, 40s, some of those things I watched, which was also horror. I thought I was expecting kind of this thing, the black and white ones,
yeah.
which I watched at night without the permission of my parents with my brother. But um, it's a truly emotional story, which really gives you um, a lot of attention and other kind of horror. Not like those. Oh, you're frightening. Oh God, there's another monster coming out. No, it was like, holy shit, this gives you really chills and um, really outstanding. I think it's a very um, extraordinary and outstanding horror or for this genre. I think it's not comparable to which to the movies I've seen in this genre, and that makes it very special. And you see the numbers; he rocks in the box office, which is amazing, and hope it still continues to have these numbers, and maybe there will be another one, the second part of it. But really, it's uh, not comparable to one. It's one of a kind, I think.
And Tim, what was your experience spending time in Ireland? I know Natalie was based in Wicklow, but she got to travel around. How about yourself?
I was in Dublin, in the center of Dublin, which was wonderful. I always wanted to go to Dublin. Let's see, I have a predilection and a special bond to Ireland for years and years. I'm very much into football, I love football. I'm FC Bayern fan and international football, of course, uh, and the European Championships, World Cups. And I always loved the Irish fans, the
Yeah.
way they were celebrating in the streets and were
It's
so
a
happy
long
and
time
free.
since Shane Long scored that famous goal against Germany.
Oh, yes, 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 I remember. And there's also um, on other points where I'm related to, I really appreciate a lot the political view of Irish people and the solidarity and to all the things happening in the world, oppressed people they are supporting. Um, I had this also while I was hanging out in some bars in London, talking with people, and really such joyful and cordial and warm people. And let's not forget, I'm originally from Turkey. I was born in Turkey, and I grew up in Germany. I came to Germany when I was 2 years old. Uh, and I know the Turkish history also. And there's an interesting story I heard many years ago that during Irish, this great famine time in 1840s, 50s,
Yeah,
there's the story where the British Empire blocked the island, and the Ottoman Empire sent ships with food and everything they needed. That's an Irish guy who told me this story and said, "Oh, what? It's amazing!" And then I heard they're gonna prepare a movie about it in Turkey, and I said, "Oh my gosh! If you do this, please, I'd like to be part of it." And I think there's also this special connection between Turks and and Irish people because of this historical thing. And there are clubs. What's the club's name? I don't remember. They who have a crescent and a star in their emblem
yeah.
um, to honor this historical situation. So it's there are a lot of reasons to be connected to Ireland. Unfortunately, I was just in Dublin. I mean, not unfortunately, but I would have loved to see more of the country. Some of my nieces and nephews went to study to Galway and another
Yeah, Galway.
place, Galway, and another, and they didn't
Limerick,
stop
probably.
loving and talking about Ireland and the people. And yeah, hope there will be another chance to come to Ireland. The best would be always, of course, love working and traveling to come back for a movie again. But still, I'd love to come to see a bit more of this, your beautiful country.
And second last question for you, Tim. In terms of 2026 now, is there future projects in the pipeline that you might want our audience and listeners to know about that might be coming our way?
Well, there's a French movie which is called Arenas, who always came out in France, but they're touring the world now about the football managers, which is great for me, mixing up two passions, football and movies, which is a very nice movie. And I'm preparing now two Turkish movies, which we'll shoot in June, July, August, September, two movies. And there's another German movie, also historical, about the invention of German techno. And I'm one of those inventors of this club scene in the 80s, 90s, the German um, um, electronic music stuff. So which is great to be in so much different movies and parts. Sometimes historical, sometimes, but historical is something I like very much. I'm still in a waiting for something I can talk about. But next week I'll know more about some historical things about the first century. But I hope I can tell more when it's fixed 100%. But there's some beautiful movies coming out. But some of the movies I shot latest years in the last 2 years, I made two movies with Guy Ritchie. They're still on Netflix and what's the other Prime.
Yeah.
Sometimes uh, you don't have to wait for the movies to come. You just have to know that there's something. Oh, I can watch it right now. But of course, nothing's better than to watch something in a movie theater like this one. So people go and watch The Mummy, Lee Cronin's Mummy. It's fantastic to watch it in a movie theater. And yeah,